It's May 2nd, 2023, and I've been writing the past hour to myself, or typing, because I just feel like the last 2 days my emotions have been good, and then randomly I'll get hit with like this feeling of misery, I guess, in a way. That's my washing machine, which like I try to hit pause, but I realize I cannot do that. So that might make a noise every now and then. But anyway, so I was like, what the heck is going on? Let me write about it. And at the same time, I feel like I stopped waiting for things to change, and then my perspective shifted a lot better than before. So anywho, I will say that since February of this year, like when I decided enough is enough, and that's like really when I felt like I was set free. There was like no longer this like weight on my shoulders. There was openness, excitement, some scary elements, but I was like more than ready to like let go. And what happened in February was like I told my job, the one that I've been at for the past 11 years, that like I don't want to I don't want to apply for another position, and I just want to end my contract the time that they put in the system that it will end. And I was just really tired of the back and forth of my job, and I don't know, I just felt like it was a toxic place. It was discouraging. I was busting my ass off like all the time for what? Like I never got the recognition I deserved in terms of promotion. It was all I saw too for a long time. It's what I thought I wanted. I saw no other career outside of international development. And this kind of ties into my past relationship, which I also was in that relationship for over 10 years, and we were engaged, and that ended 2020. Yeah, so similar to my past relationship, I had this like tunnel vision that this was it. A career at this prestigious place, who would ever leave? A relationship where we get along fairly well. After some rocky years, who would give that up? Turns out I was deeply unhappy in both of those things, and I had been for a while. Things just weren't working out, and I felt like everything was a challenge, an obstacle, when I feel it really doesn't need to be that way. I got burnt out. I was fed up, and when I left my relationship of 10 years, it wasn't like an easy decision for me. I wanted it to work out, but truth is, it just never did. We tried everything. I felt misunderstood. I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel like I was heard or appreciated. I felt I had to also dim my shine to make him feel better. And I think 2020 gave me a real glimpse of what my future could have looked like if it continued. And it wasn't pretty. Things just weren't working out for a while, and I left. There was like nothing more I thought I could do, nor anything he could have done to make it change. And I made peace with it, and stepping out of it, I realized that it was not a healthy relationship at all. My needs weren't being met, and I was bending over backwards to accommodate him. It didn't feel 50-50. It definitely didn't feel like 100% on both sides. I felt like I was doing 80% and he was doing 20%. And that's exhausting. I mean, with my job, I also felt like not understood, not appreciated, and that I was working hard trying to reach this like carrot that's dangling in front of me. And just like, if you do this, you might get a promotion, and just nothing. And if you try doing this kind of work, you will probably get promoted. Nothing. So I don't know, it just felt like it was impossible, and it was extremely toxic. The day that I told my managers I wanted to withdraw my application from this position I applied to within the unit, I felt like I had this glass box around my body and I literally just like punched a hole through it and like I felt like on top of the world pretty much after that moment. And yeah, there was like many back and forth moments where I was like unsure what to do. I knew I wanted to leave that place. I didn't have a backup job. I didn't have a plan. I just knew it wasn't creative and I was deeply missing and craving using my creative side. It felt sad. I was like doing data analysis work for the last 2 years, and though like I learned from it, I don't want to be doing that forever. Like if I even think about doing 1 more year of this type of work, I think I'll just like jump off the balcony or something. So before doing the data work, I was doing more like communications, stakeholder engagement type of work, which I think is much more my vibe. But sitting behind a desk and staring at Excel all day long is like soul crushing to me. So anyway, after like telling them I'm not interested in their jaws hitting the floor, I felt super confident, but I began questioning obviously if that was like the right decision. Even though I knew it was the right step, people began to ask me questions like, have you found a job yet? Any luck on interviews? What are you gonna do about your retirement money or like your pension or whatever? What about working at this organization or that organization? Then like just toying that idea with extended family members, like the older ones just like didn't understand at all. They stay in jobs for like 30, 40 years, and knowing that I would leave this prestigious place was like insanity to them. So I kept it wrapped pretty much. And that's how I felt with some of my older coworkers too. The ones that have been through the same things in their life understand, but the ones that are looking at me like I'm nuts. Like there are others that looked at me like I was crazy to like throw this away. And you know what? That's okay. Not everyone's gonna get it. I don't want to be like them. I want to learn as much as I can about a variety of different like jobs, and I want to experience working in this industry or that industry, having my own business if I want to do that. I just knew that like I wanted the flexibility and the openness to kind of explore before jumping into like another job where I'm there for 5-6 years and I'm like, I don't really like this. So yeah, I would say probably last month and the month before, so the last 2 months, I began really toying with the idea of like solo travel and backpacking Southeast Asia. I just feel like whenever I'm put into uncomfortable situations, I thrive, and what a better place than to thrive in areas that you've never been to before. So yeah, I was kind of thinking about this more, and I'm like, man, I really just go for things. Like I booked the trip to Thailand, and then I'm just planning on venturing out to different countries from there. But like off the top of my head, I was thinking like I went paragliding, snorkeling. I decided to randomly volunteer in Guatemala when I was in college. Like none of this was on my radar, but like I felt good, and like eventually like I met people and things worked out. So I think it's just one of those moments again. And yeah, I just went for it. And if I didn't get something, I just moved on and did something else. But I definitely tried, and sometimes tried multiple times. So this desire to travel this year grew so much in April. That's all I could think about. I wanted to see as much of the world as possible. I have no schedule. I have no schedule. Meet like-minded people and get back into film, which is something I kind of toyed with probably when I was like 17, 18. So it's been a while. And let's see. reflecting on it, like many people in my past, especially on social media, questioned why I traveled and who's funding me, which I thought was hilarious because I'm funding myself 100%. I guess some people are under the assumption that I have some sugar daddy, I guess, funding my trips, which is like, no. That's crazy. And like, I pretty much despise men at this point. But if you're a man watching this, I don't despise you. It's just like why I travel. Like, they just don't get it. And there are others that think much more differently. They're just like love watching the content that I post. And then there are others that are like, how do you do it? How do you decide where to go? How do you decide what to do? Like, what's your thought process behind traveling? And my thought process is there is no thought process. It's more like I see and I'm curious about a place, and then my mind begins to wander, and then I kind of look at stuff to do around there, and then I'm like, yeah, let's go. If I find a cheap ticket, I'll go ahead and do it. But yeah, this is all to say that like, it's only hard if you think that it's hard. Like, people travel all the time, people leave their jobs all the time, people leave long relationships all the time. It's definitely not easy, but if you see and know and are well aware of the signs to just like let go of something, it's in your interest to just go ahead and do it. But again, I mean, it takes courage and it takes other situations going on that maybe I'm not aware of, which is totally fine. But yeah, I just feel like it's like what you give meaning to, which like makes it difficult in a way. Like, I don't know, life shouldn't feel pressured. We're all smart, we're all capable. Like, how do you want to live your life? Is there anything you wish you could do that you haven't already? And do you feel like the time has passed for that activity? Like, for me, I don't think backpacking in being 35 was something I ever thought I would do. But I mean, if the opportunity is there to take off for a month or two and just go ahead and explore the world, I will do it. I don't care how old I am. And even if I'm the oldest person in the hostel, whatever, I can relate to any age at this point. Yeah, the last 2 years too, I was thinking like, with my spiritual journey, I've taken pottery classes, painting classes on my own. It took a lot of convincing from my friends, but it's something I always talked about wanting to do. And I don't know, for some reason I thought I was like too old to do it. And then I just randomly decided to like look for classes to see if they even have adult classes. And so I saw it, and then it worked with my schedule. So I was just like, all right, screw it, I'm gonna sign up. And I think the only regret would be not signing up for it and just like letting the time pass. It was definitely like out of my comfort zone, and I'm not like skilled in art or anything, but I just knew that I needed something creative to like get my soul happy again, because otherwise it was just staring at Excel sheets all day long. And yeah, now I have a whole closet full of canvases and paintbrushes, and I just bought like air dried clay. So who knew that like just by me taking the plunge that it leads to more like activities down the line. The other thing, like with exercise classes, I did Orange Theory for 4 years, and when I first started, I was not athletic at all. Like, I would barely go to the gym. So when I first started, I thought like, okay, I'll do this for like 3-4 months to lose weight for like a wedding. I had no idea how to like use weights. I could barely run, but like I took my time, I showed up, I was slow as hell and probably lifting like 5-pound weights. But like, you know, after 5 turned into 10, then 15, then 20, and I felt great, but I had to take that first step to like sign up and then show up. So never limit yourself. You can do anything you put your mind to. Just take your time, take the first step, and keep showing up, or at least being curious, and like you should follow that curiosity. But anyway, so thinking about all this made me realize that I'm slowly turning into this version of myself that I always wanted to become. It just felt very out of reach, but yeah, it feels pretty cool to like see this all like come together. And like I detached from this old version of myself that's tied to my job, that's tied to my ex, this like, what else? Yeah, pretty much. And then I was able to like shift into this new version who feels a lot more confident, a lot more secure with myself, and just I feel empowered to do anything and kind of step out into the blank canvas that's like pretty much right in front of me, which is crazy to think about because I think last year if you would have told me this, I would have been freaked out, but I feel better than ever. So that is a long video, but hopefully you can relate, and it's kind of a relief, not kind of, it is a relief that things have just turned around very quickly in the last like chunk of time, where it was pretty stagnant and I was very frustrated for years. So hope that helps. Talk to you later.